We're gonna have a fun class.
Yeah, we are. Okay,
We
we're
got
live.
some good short ribs.
We're live, man. What's up?
We're live. All good.
What's going on? Let me post this. Our
Okay,
class
yeah, we got
so
some
people
cool
can
short
sign
ribs
up.
for Sunday.
You got too close.
Got 5 pounds of Korean short
Okay,
ribs.
man.
Got
I'm looking forward to that class.
I'm excited about that one.
Itamar,
What's up?
welcome to
Thank you.
Wood Fired Podcast.
We're live.
We're live. Exactly 2 people are watching this, so
Two whole people.
no pressure.
No pressure. Hi, people.
Cheers
Cheers, brother.
to the new baby.
To the new baby.
Congratulations.
To new babies.
Yep. You beat me by a few months.
I did. Well, and a few years as well.
That's true. You're on number 2.
Yeah, it's fun.
What's it like being a dad and a chef? What are the perks? What's good about it? And what sucks about it?
What's good about it is that I'm gonna start with what's bad.
Okay.
It's always, it's more like in your bones. Like, this is bothering me.
Get it off your chest.
People
That's
are
over
afraid to bring us food. Like, there's a meal train.
Because they think you're going to judge the shit
Yeah,
out
people
of
are
it.
sure that I'm
Okay.
going to judge their food and
makes sense.
oh, just so you know, I don't care. People, it's the love. It's all about the love.
Right.
All right, it's all about the love. And so
So
that's
anyone listening to this should not be scared to give you
no,
food.
fuck that. I don't care. It's the food is going to be great.
Okay.
Food is going to be great no matter what happens.
Okay.
And it's just, so that's the one thing. And we're going into like an insane week next week that I'll probably be home. I'll probably won't be home like more than 40 hours
Okay.
all of next week.
So not being around sucks because you're
Not being around sucks. I mean, she's going to be 3 weeks old and I'm going to spend a week away from her, including 3 nights that I'm not going to be sleeping at home.
Right.
So that's the sucky part.
Where are you going? Are you going? You got something going on?
We're doing talking about live fire. We're cooking 6 whole hogs
Nice.
over live fire.
Nice.
On the night between Tuesday and Wednesday for lunch on Wednesday.
Where at? What's going on?
Round Pond Winery.
Oh yeah.
We're doing
Round Pond.
Round Pond.
They have
a Forno
an oven.
Piombo.
Yep.
And this beer is not bad at all.
It's not bad. It's out of season, I guess.
Yeah, it is out of season. You were dissing it. This beer
Well,
is not
I wasn't. Well, hey, you're a chef, man. I mean,
No, this is not
you
bad
know
at
your
all.
beer, so I didn't
I
want
don't know if they sponsor us or
insult
not.
you.
They should sponsor us.
Deschutes.
Deschutes. Where's it
Deschutes
from?
is awesome.
So
Washington,
that
I
is a country music festival. Live in the Vineyard goes country.
Okay.
And we are cooking 6 whole hogs over live fire, which is a lot of fun, but very, very stressful as well.
Is it rotisserie style?
No. We're going to spatchcock them.
Okay.
And
Is that where you like fillet them open?
You fillet them,
Okay.
and then we're
I
going
like
to take...
that. But do you put on like the crosses?
So I'm not doing a cross. We were
Okay.
thinking about doing crosses, but we don't have 6 crosses to
Okay,
begin with.
sure.
We were trying to scramble, and we're like getting 3. So we're getting hog fencing, which is fun because that's a weird name. But that's what we're
Ironic.
using. And we're going to sandwich them between 2 pieces of hog fencing.
Nice. Okay.
So hog fencing is like it's a wire rack that's about this big.
Okay.
And yeah, we're just gonna cook them. We're gonna sandwich them between that. Gonna start a fire in the middle, and then ambers are gonna be around underneath the hogs. So the hogs is gonna be at about 60 degree.
So you go like 3 and 3.
Probably a circle.
Okay. That obviously
Probably
makes
a circle,
sense.
but-
Big fire in the middle.
Yeah.
How are you controlling that fire? Just a fire pit? Is it just a fire pit? Or?
It's not. We can't dig a pit. We're not
Okay.
allowed to dig a pit because
Okay.
it's in a working vineyard, and they don't want a hole in their ground.
Okay.
So what we do is we use. I personally love larger chunks of wood. I know you like smaller pieces.
Well, yeah, for certain situations.
Yeah,
be fair.
but as a whole, I like. So I called Nina. I'm like, hey, I need large chunks. I'm gonna get some whole logs as well, like not split at all. So what that does, that gives us longevity in the heat. So I'm getting one piece that it spikes and then it slowly disintegrates. And when I do that, I have better long-term control.
And it's less work for you, right? You're less consistent. You put one on,
I
it's
don't
gonna
have to
burn
keep stoking
longer.
it. I don't have to keep stoking the fire. What I do is I put a big log in and then it just goes. And then the next time I put more, and then those break into smaller ambers as well. I get better amber.
And do you work those embers where you need them in the fire, right?
Yeah,
You're
we're going to shovel them around. So we're going to build, if anybody's seen the last Game of Thrones episode, we're going to build...
No spoilers.
No spoilers, but it starts with that. Okay, there's going to be some spoilers.
No, I guess we warned them. Go there.
We warned them.
We
There
warned
are spoilers. If you have not seen the last 2 episodes of Game of Thrones, go.
You suck. You should.
But you see all these big fires that they burn all the bodies on. We're gonna start with a fire like this. So
Minus the bodies.
minus
the
bodies.
human bodies.
Minus the human bodies, exactly. And what that does, that fire generates embers really, really quick. It burns fast at the beginning, and then it just dies slowly.
Does that have anything to do with a sear? Like, is it searing those hogs at all, or is it,
No. You don't
cooking?
sear.
It's fire management.
Yeah,
is
it's
the
fire
reason we're doing
management.
that.
So we're gonna start with a big fire like that, and then from there we're gonna start separating it into individual. Underneath each hog, there's gonna be ambers that we're gonna be spreading around and basically sitting there drinking beer.
That's sick. I love that.
Come join us.
That's awesome.
We should do a podcast there.
We should do a podcast there. Just eat and drink. Everyone will be
Eat and
jealous.
drink and cook hogs.
That's really cool. So that's a country music thing out at Round
Yeah.
Pond. Okay.
And then I'm driving down to LA for a charity
Hey, we have
event.
an oven down there now. You can a rental oven if you want to borrow it.
Next time, we were thinking about actually using a wood-fired oven,
Okay.
but we were thinking, okay, how am I going to tow it from Napa all the way down to LA?
It's in LA right now.
It's in
It's
LA
waiting
right
for
now.
you. Yep.
So next time I'll
Next
borrow
time
one.
you know.
So I'm driving down on Friday to do a charity event that we volunteer for every year
Okay.
for Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, and that's a really, really fun event for about 2,000 people.
Okay.
So, and we're not the only chefs there.
Wait a
So-
minute. I think it's going.
What?
I think our oven's going to be there.
At Warner Brothers Studios?
I think at that charity event. It's going out to a charity event next week.
On Saturday?
I'm almost positive.
That's awesome.
It might be there. You might see it.
Then
That's pretty cool.
I always plug it. I think I sold at that event like 2 ovens in 2 consecutive years thus far. So
Down there?
down there.
Yeah.
I love selling it. I mean, these ovens are amazing. So it's always a pleasure when people are, oh, what do you think about this wood burning oven? I'm like, it's a nice wood burning oven, but look at the Forno Turbo. That's what you're talking
Always
about.
plug it. Well, I'm glad you like it.
So yeah, that's the sucky part about having a newborn and being a chef.
That's a good part.
The good part is the liberty that I do have, because I right now I don't have a permanent thing going, so it's not like every day I have to work. So I get to
You make your own schedule a bit.
I make my own
Yeah.
schedule, but that's being independent.
Sure.
That's not being an employee of anybody else. That gives you that. Also, being able to just whip up food. Like if Nama is hungry, Nama is my wife. If she's hungry, I'm like, yeah, let's just make you whatever. And
anything that's there, you're gonna. Make
anything
something
that's
good,
there,
yeah.
we can make something. So that's the good part about being. I hate the word chef. Being able to cook. And
What you don't like the word chef?
So chef is boss, right? In French, chef is boss.
That's what it means. I had
Yeah,
no idea. What it means.
yeah, it's chief.
Boss, chief.
It's chief.
A chief. I guess so. If you called yourself a chief, that'd be weird, right?
Yeah. So that's the thing. I don't like that part. I like the word cook. I'm a cook.
You're a cook. Okay. A little more humbling.
That's what at the end of the day, that's what I do. That's what I enjoy doing, and that's what I want to do. I would just want to cook. I want to make people happy with food.
Right.
And I want to give the people as much of the ingredient and the essence of my soul, and make them happy with that.
Okay.
And that's why I'm not a huge fan of the word chef. At Blossom Catering, we don't use the word chef for almost anybody. Like, people call us chef from the outside who don't work with the company.
Or if you see a chef that you respect,
yes,
maybe.
yeah,
Right.
we call outside we call
Right.
people chefs all the time because we respect them, and that's a term of respect. But from within the company, it all goes by first name, except for very few of our cooks who need that structure.
Sure. Some do, right?
Some cooks need.
Makes
some
sense.
people need structure.
Titles and
They need titles. They need to know
hierarchy.
where they are on the totem pole. And for those cooks, yeah, sure, we'll use that. But as a whole, I don't go by chef. I hate it.
Tell us about Blossom Catering. That's your catering company.
Yep. Blossom Catering is.
When did you start that?
I'm a partner.
Okay.
I help with the company.
With Nate Dogg.
Nate Smith is the owner of that company. That he was a classmate of mine, and we started it while we were still in school. And
that was at the CIA.
that was at CIA.
Okay.
This beer is delicious.
Okay, it's good, man.
You were like, this is gross, and I'm very happy. Like, I don't drink
Not
beer this
gross.
fast, and I've almost gone through this whole bottle.
It's good.
I
I have one bottle of Heineken left. That's it. So
Next
Pace
is
yourself.
Heineken. Okay.
Pace yourself. It's one left.
I think Mario got it.
Oh, then we're screwed.
So me and Nate were classmates at CIA, and this one day a friend of mine approached us and like, hey, I gave your contact to this person. They need a bar mitzvah catered.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay.
How long had you been at CIA at that point?
At that point, this was our fourth term, so a year and a few months. Not a long time.
Did you have any catering experience before
No,
that?
none.
Really?
None.
Just maybe like friends and family?
I started cooking in 2012. I wasn't cooking professionally before that. I was doing something completely different. And my goal was always fine dining. Like that was the epitome of cooking for me. Mm-hmm. How like where you want to be in cooking, fine dining is up there.
Did you gravitate towards a certain cuisine or a certain country or was it
so? Okay, we'll go back.
Okay,
a few years back. 2012, 2010. I decided that I want to quit what I did before and go to culinary school. And my fiance back then, my wife, was like, "Yeah, sure, let's do it. Like it, let's do it." And we moved to San Francisco so I can go to culinary school because I remember there was a good culinary school in San Francisco, and then that culinary school turned out to be a shitty culinary school. And
what school was it?
I'm not.
Come on, man.
I'm not gonna
Why?
throw the La Cordon Bleu under the bus.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I'm going to CIA, and my wife told me, Nama told me, why don't you go and work at a restaurant, see if you even like it, see if that's something that you like. So I was working full time in an office in downtown San Francisco at the time. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go and intern in a restaurant, and the only requirement was that it's gonna be close to home, because if I'm working full time, I don't want to travel.
Sure.
I don't want to commute.
Yeah.
So I found a restaurant that was literally a block away from my house.
What restaurant?
It was called Rue Saint Jacques. It's no longer there. It was a wonderful restaurant. The owner was a wonderful chef, was a wonderful cook, not that great of a chef, to be honest. Like he was having he was
a good cook, but not a good chef.
Yeah. So there's a difference between owning a business and pricing everything out. And because at the end of the day, I mean, and you know it, owning a business, you hardly build ovens yourself.
Right.
You don't do that. The larger you get,
you delegate. Yeah.
The less you actually are hands on.
Right.
The more you're involved in management.
Right.
Managing it, doing everything around to allow your people to do it. And he was having a hard time stepping away from like looking at the numbers and not being in the kitchen. So he was a wonderful, wonderful cook, and I loved him dearly. So we went there and we had an argument, and then I asked him if he would take me as an intern. And he took me as an intern for about 5 months. And then at some point it was time for me to move on. So I asked him, where should I go next? And he mentioned La Folie, which was at the time a Michelin star restaurant about 2 blocks away from my house, which again was the requirement. Sure. It has to be close.
Right.
So that was classic French, beautiful cuisine. It's an establishment. If you've never been to La Folie in San Francisco, go get a reservation at La Folie in San Francisco. How many people am I talking to right now live?
One.
Whoever you are, go to La Folie. It's amazing. You'll thank me. So I went and worked at La Folie, and that was my experience. So I walked into La Folie, knocked on the kitchen door in the back, and I'm like, "Hey, are you guys looking for an intern?" And he was like, "Just so you know, we don't pay our interns." I'm like, "Great, because I can't get paid. I'm not allowed to be paid because I was on a work visa."
Okay.
So I worked there for 6 months. So that was French cuisine, and that was like my first real experience on fine dining.
Okay.
What is fine dining? How much effort goes into fine dining? And for me, the process of cooking is as important as the guest feel and how much the guest enjoys the experience.
It's the overall, it's not just the food you're eating.
It's not just the food you're eating.
When you walk in, and
It's
your table.
It's
and,
before you even walk in. It's when you make the reservation.
Sure.
When you decide, okay, I want to go to that place. How does that make you feel? And that's one of the reasons, by the way, that the French Laundry, for example, has a dress code. Because when you have a dress code, you're like, I'm going to dress up for this. It's something special. It's not an everyday occurrence. It puts in the whole thing together. And that's when I was like, wow, there's so much. Because I've never eaten at a Michelin. Have you eaten at a Michelin star restaurant?
Yeah, we Angel Oak in Santa Barbara.
Angel Oak in Santa Barbara. That was just now. You were just in Santa Barbara.
Yeah.
How was that?
It was insane. They had abalone.
I love abalone.
I'd never seen abalone on a menu in my life.
Really?
Really. And so I was shocked. And
should have told me. Would have put it on the menu for Saturday.
It was good, man. They made it into like a pasta, and then I had the Wagyu. I had to have the Wagyu and half a lobster tail. I just it was like,
That was your first Michelin star experience?
I think so. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was the first one I've been to.
So for me, until 2000 and I want to say 2015? No, 2016. I've never been to a Michelin star restaurant.
Okay.
My first was the restaurant Meadowood. So I started off with 3 stars.
Nice.
So I cooked at the Michelin star, but I've never eaten at one.
Okay.
And seeing how much thought goes into each thing.
And each decision.
Everything. Like, I was just talking to Nate about it today, there's a dish at La Folie that's a quail that's stuffed with squab and mushrooms and then wrapped in potato. It's a single strand of potato that you wrap around the quail. And the first 20 times that I've done that I tried to wrap it in potato, I was sent back to try to do it again because I didn't do it well enough.
Okay.
And that whole experience just blew me away. So that was like the cuisine that I was looking for. Fine dining, California French. That was what I was doing.
So that's the cuisine that you felt was yours, that you associated with.
That I was trying to master. I don't think I can master anything.
Sure. Has that's been a cornerstone for everything up until now, would you say? I mean, of course it changes.
Yeah, right? French cuisine is always, it's the mother home. It's sure. That's where you go to. If you're not sure what you're doing, make it French. That's
what when Robert was on here on our last podcast.
I love Robert.
He's awesome. And
I would have his kids if you would.
They'd be good chefs for sure. So he was saying, that these young chefs that he recommends, start French cuisine, start with the classics. You need a cornerstone, you need a foundation, and to go with the classics and have that be your jumping off point, I think is what he recommended.
At the end of the day, if you don't know how to walk, you can't run.
Right.
It's that simple. And French cuisine, all cuisine in the world is French. Everything. It's all French technique. It's all French technique. Except for the French, they're Italian. They learned from the Italians. But everything else is French.
Right.
So the foundation is there. And if you understand the foundation, if you understand why food does what it does the way it does it,
right,
then Korean is easy. Because you understand why is it doing that? Why am I doing what I'm doing to the food that I'm doing it to? And that's it. And then you can do wonders.
I think that makes sense. And I mean, that translates to so many other industries is you can learn how to do something, but you need to understand why you're doing it that way.
That drives me crazy. I'm going to sound old now. Whoever, the one person that is watching this. Two. We have two. The two people that are watching, I'm going to sound old, but that's a lot of the thing. People don't want to know why. They want to know how and how to get it fast.
And move on to the next thing.
Mm-hmm. And that, like, people tell me, we were now choosing a school for our son. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, a school is very important. People are like, no, you can Google everything today. But if I'm referencing in a conversation to be or not to be, and you don't know that it comes from Shakespeare, and you don't know it's Hamlet, and you don't know about Hamlet, then that conversation is dead. And that's the base of everything. You need to know not everybody can dive deep into everything, but everybody should be a puddle and know a bit about a lot.
Right.
And that drives me crazy. People are like, oh, I can just Google it. Yeah, but have you retained it once you Googled it?
Right.
Is that a piece of information that you now know? Because, I mean, look at this. If you understand how to make this dish, if you understand how to cook this steak, you can cook any steak. But if you don't understand how, then you're going to be stuck with that specific recipe for the rest of your life. Because you don't understand how. You don't understand why it does what it does.
So how do you learn that? How do you learn? Is it muscle memory, just doing it over and over? A good teacher?
YouTube is amazing.
Okay.
Reading is second to none. Next to my bed right now, I have about 7 books.
So let me ask you a question real quick. If you could go the rest of your life in regards to like food, would you choose only reading food-related books or access to food videos?
Oh, books by
Books,
none.
really? Okay.
Bar none.
Why?
But good books.
Good books.
I mean, there are some shitty books out there.
Mm-hmm.
Why good books? Because a good book would explain why things are happening. Video, especially in today's world, is not as deep. It doesn't explain why.
Because they have images showing.
They have
so
images
much.
showing what happens.
Okay.
And they are working on the clickbait. They know that people lose attention after a while. A book can spread over 1,000 pages. That's okay. Because you're not reading it in one sitting. I mean, On Food and Cooking is probably those 2 people that are watching get
Now we're back to 1.
Now we're back to 1. Is it the same one or is it
going? I don't know.
But that's the thing. It's like On Food and Cooking is a textbook. But if you read it, you can cook anything. If you understand what you read, you can cook anything. Because it explains in depth that video can never do.
Right.
So given you have to choose one books, but then again, it's also, you have to dine out. You have to go out and eat.
Experiences.
Go and eat. And go to good and shitty places. And then understand why, for me, like, what was shitty about this?
What should I not do?
What's
easy to maybe forget and not care about.
Exactly.
But when you experience it, you realize, I should never do this.
Exactly.
This is bad. But
This
it's
is
easy
bad.
to do it because, yeah, I'm 100% on board with, when I've talked about this every podcast, when you're a chef or you like cooking, you need to go eat it at places. You need to go experience it. I mean,
for sure.
There is no book or video that can give you the kind of inspiration you're going to get from going to a restaurant and just experience the taste, the presentation.
It's
yeah,
creating memories.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, what we eat is our memories. Okay, it's not, even if we go to In-N-Out. Okay, and I freaking love In-N-Out.
It's amazing.
In-N-Out's amazing. But when you eat there, it evokes all these memories and all these emotions that come from eating at In-N-Out. And that's what it's about. Food is about memories. It's about nurture. Because we can take a pill with all the calories we need. They can generate today a pill like one of those bars that there. Have you ever had one of those military bars? It's like a
MREs, yeah.
MRE. It's like 1,000 calories in one bar.
Yeah.
It tastes like shit.
Yeah.
But it nourishes you.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't nurture you. It doesn't give you everything that extra thing does. Even I'll take a crappy, overcooked chicken that somebody made with love to me over that MRE with 1,000 calories.
Sure.
Any day. Because that's more important. And that's the thing that people don't get. And that's understanding everything around food. Food is just food, but it's so much more.
Sure. That's very poetic. I like it.
I am a poetic person. Especially, give me another beer, I'll get more poetic. We're out of beer. That is a sad situation.
No, we might have one more Heineken, maybe. So I'm taking a knife cutting class at the CIA after this, so I probably shouldn't drink.
A knife cutting class. Okay, one tip.
Okay.
Knife is not a hammer.
That's one of the first things you ever told me, and I've never forgotten it.
Knife is not a hammer.
I remember.
Knife needs to slice, hammer pounds.
Yeah.
And most people try to use knives as a hammer. They try to go down and chop and not slice.
You have to let the knife do the work.
Let the knife do the work.
That reminds me of golfing. They say the same thing about golfing, is people try and swing hard and use muscle and use, the club is the weight. Let the club do its
thing.
Yeah. So
exactly.
Let
the knife do its thing.
So
I always
that means you have to sharpen your knives, though. Right? Yeah.
You do need a sharp knife. I actually just got a new knife from New West Knives. It's
New West.
New West. They're in St. Helena.
What kind of knife? Like a set or just?
No. I don't believe in sets.
Okay.
At the end of the day, you need 2 knives.
2 knives.
2 knives.
That's it. That's all you ever need.
In essence, yes.
Okay.
A good petty knife, which is about a 6 inches.
Okay.
And a chef's knife, which is 8 inches.
A big one.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. You can do everything with those 2 knives.
Okay.
You can if you're butchering all day, every day, get a butchering knife.
Yeah.
If you're filleting fish all day, every day, get a filleting knife. But if you're doing all round, 2 knives, all you need.
So the majority of your cutting should be done on those 2 knives.
Yes.
At home.
Yeah, that's it. People get I hate sets. Sets are it's the work of the devil.
Is the set just a consumer? They're just trying to sell.
It's a way to sell more.
Sure.
I can sell you a wooden block. There, here you go, $60 for a wooden block.
Some scissors in there.
Some scissors in there. A hone that you don't need. Yeah, sure. $350 for this shitty knife. There you go. And there are some great sets, but even then, you don't need most of these knives. At home, bread knife, chef's knife, petty knife.
That's it.
Chef needs only 2.
What about your pans?
Oh, pans are hard.
So, stainless, cast iron. Stainless is going to be for what, mainly?
Okay. Given choice of just one pan, only cast iron.
Sure.
Given now, can you put a link? Can we pull Amazon in this?
Probably. We should be able to.
That one viewer, you're gonna get some. You're gonna get a
we're
lesson
back to
here.
2. We're back to 2.
Back to 2.
All right, what are we going to?
Pull Amazon.
No one's gonna be able to see it though.
I don't care. Now look up stainless steel satay pan. No, not stainless steel. Sorry, cast iron satay pan. Okay, there we go. There we go. Now, where is it now? There we go. This one.
This one?
This.
That's not cast iron though.
That's carbon steel. It's very similar. There we go. This is the one. Now go back. That's the one I wanted.
Left-handed.
Yeah, you do it left-handed. That's
okay.
Okay. That's the one.
Okay, so for the people that are going to listen to this and not watch it, I want to describe it to them.
Large 12-inch seasoned carbon steel skillet, large steel skillet for family size.
So you like that? So they got 8, 10, 12, 15. You like the 12?
12 is perfect.
12 is fine. So this
if I only needed to live with one pan for the rest of my life,
right here,
this would be that pan.
So this has got the high edges.
High edges, but you see it's not straight.
Right, it's flared out a little bit.
It's flared out a little bit.
Oh, look, they have pictures with the food.
There you go.
Look at that.
See, look at that.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure my dad uses one of these for everything too.
This is, if I need one pan for the rest of my life, that will be that. If I need to go camping with one pan that I cook over fire or gas or whatever.
Make it big so the video can see.
Oh, just Google.
There you go.
There we go.
You can
Find
see
one.
That, right?
It's the same size.
2 people.
It's the same size, just with a bigger background.
Can I show you? I just want to show you real quick. This new cast iron I got. Yeah, right here.
Phoenix. What is Phoenix?
So these guys are in Oregon or Washington. Oregon.
Is this one of those fancy new cast irons?
Yeah, it was gifted. It was a gift.
Why don't I get gifted stuff?
I don't know, man. It was
probably
the first and only gift I'll ever get.
Because you have a podcast.
This is my 3rd episode. There's 2 people.
Hey.
We're not there yet. Maybe they can.
You're the next Joe Rogan. Someday. I'm telling you.
So you see that?
That's a nice looking.
So So those angles, it's great for pouring.
Yeah.
When you got to pour something in. So that's pretty cool.
That's a nice looking cast iron.
This is Finex, the company Finex.
Finex. There you can look him up. Finex.
Portland, Oregon. So and then they have this handle.
So it's American made.
Yeah, it's made in Oregon. It doesn't transfer heat. I've cooked on it like hot, and
in the oven, and that doesn't get hot.
I've never done it in the oven. I've done it at home.
Oh.
But on high or
at home, yes.
And
sure.
It's got that coil, so
the coil doesn't transfer heat.
Anyways, I love it.
Nice
I'm in love with it.
Bring it tomorrow.
So
Bring it on Saturday.
So let me tell you. I will. Let me tell you how I take care of it. You can tell me if I'm doing it right. So here's what
You're probably doing it right.
So after I cook with it, as soon as I finish, I clean it out in the sink, with cold water. Okay. But clean all the food off. I don't leave any. Don't soak water. Don't do any of that. Just clean it off with water and a sponge. Get all the food off. Then I hand dry it with a paper towel everywhere. I put it back on the oven or back on the stove. Turn it on low to dry it completely because I know it rusts.
Okay.
Just to get it a little warm, and then I do a light seasoning of oil.
Just oil
over the top, real light, and I leave it.
Sounds good.
Right? Okay.
As a whole, I don't like heat drying it. I don't like heat drying my cast iron. It leaves a bit of residue from the water. Our water is not great
because it dries it too fast.
It just water evaporates, right?
Okay.
Anything that evaporates is just water, so there is some residue from the water.
Okay.
So I just dry it well with a cast iron, with paper towel or a regular towel.
Okay, so no need to throw it.
And then every once in a while I season them, and then frankly, hot water and soap are not going to take the seasoning off.
Okay.
If it's well seasoned.
Okay.
Do you know how to well season an oven?
That one came seasoned.
Okay. I would still re-season it.
Really? How often should I do that?
Probably.
I know it depends how often I use it, but
probably season it. So what I do with my lodge, once every 3 years or so, when I see that it needs it, I would season it like 5 times in a row.
Okay.
And do you know how to season a cast iron?
I've heard a few.
Dry it out really, really, really well.
Right.
Dry it out super well.
By hand.
By hand, and then you can dry it out with put it on heat.
You're supposed to put it in an oven or something, right?
And then you put oil on it, and this is the one time that you
on the surface or the sides and
all surfaces, handle, back, bottom, top,
oil everything. Okay.
Oil everything, and then go with a dry paper towel and wipe up as much oil as you can off of it.
Okay.
And then you put it in a cold oven and crank the oven up to as high as it will go. Let it go.
What if you have a wood-fired oven that can go up to?
Not a wood-fired oven. No, regular home oven.
Okay.
So you want to go to about 525, 550.
Okay.
Then you let it go all the way up. Let it go at 550 for 10 minutes. And then turn the oven off, leave the cast iron in there. And then when it's cold, it's seasoned. That's it. Done.
You do that every 2 or 3 years.
I do that whenever it needs it.
How do you know it needs it?
You see that it's starting to rust. What happens there is the oil creates a bond with the metal. And that's a bond that soap won't untie. Do it if it's the first time that you're doing it. Do it like 15 times. And then let it sit. And then your cast iron is ready to go. The problem with cooking in a Forno Piombo or any good wood burning oven is that the heat is too high for the season.
What if you get the oven to 500 though?
If you get it to 500, you don't have a problem. Okay. But if you get it to 1,000, which I've done,
yeah,
it burns it off. It does. There's no you'll have to re-season it, which is great if you want to strip old seasoning off. If for some reason you didn't do it well, throw it in a 1,000-degree oven.
Start over. It's
very easy. But yeah, that's where the Forno Piombo has stripped many of my cast irons. Yeah, sure, throw it in a 1,200-degree oven. Nothing bad can happen from that.
Let's talk about the oven.
Let's talk about the oven.
Or just wood-fired cooking.
Wood-fired cookery.
In general.
I love wood-fired
cookery.
Wood-fired cookery, it's a thing.
It is a thing. What do you like about the oven?
I'm going to start with what I like about wood-fired cookery, and then I'll talk about the ovens.
There we go.
Wood-fired cookery. Okay, so here's the thing. We talked earlier about the soul of the cook going into the food, right?
Nurture over nutrition.
Exactly. You're nurturing the person that you're feeding. and you're giving them a piece of you every time that you serve a dish.
Sure.
Now, the more advanced cookery we get with more precise machinery, we can get, if you're listening to the podcast, I'm doing like, how do you call these?
Quote, or air quotes.
Air quotes.
Air quotes.
I'm doing air quotes, better precision. And the reason I'm saying better with air quotes is that in Japanese, there's something that's called, I can't remember the name in Japanese, but it's
I know
the perfection in imperfection.
I've been hearing that by everybody lately. Yeah.
That's the thing. It's a thing. When something is cold and just sterile, it can be perfect, but it's that. It's cold and sterile. And the more...
Wabi-sabi.
Wabi-sabi, exactly. You got it.
I like that saying.
So that wabi-sabi is that personalization. It's making it maybe less perfect by a measurable way, but more personal and more relatable.
And it's more a piece of yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And with cooking, so let's start. We have on one end, we have induction burners and immersion circulators that I can set a temperature to. I want it not at 350, precise. I want it at 353. I found that that's the perfect temperature. By the way, it is. If you ever want to make blinis, 353 is perfect.
Okay.
It will make the perfect blini every time.
Okay.
That's on one end. And then it goes through gas burners and then French tops, which is basically a slab of metal with a piece of fire, with a fire underneath it that you control the heat by moving your pan around, not by adjusting a knob, to a grill fire, a charcoal grill, to a wood grill. And those are different. Charcoal is way more even. Wood has flare-ups and it changes. And by being able to control it more... Now, I have more control over the wood and the gas and the French top rather than the 353, because I've set it at 353. It's perfect. It's going to be right there, but it's not going to require anything from me. I can give, I don't know, my 5-year-old son a recipe, assuming he can read, and he will do it 353. I can do it, not a problem. While with live fire, it requires skill. It requires more than just being able to follow a recipe.
Turn a knob and...
Exactly. Exactly. It requires, okay, this wood is slightly wet today. I'm going to work it differently than this wood is very, very dry. Because a wood that's very dry emits less smoke, higher heat. A wood that's slightly wet has more smoke in it and will give me more flavor. Two different things. None is better than the other. So that's why I like wood-fired cookery.
So it's for one, challenging in a way, and requires you to utilize your skills to cook on it properly, or at least to cook on it in a way that you can serve food. But also you like that it's a personal it's a piece of yourself. It's a piece of yourself,
and it's something that I can do better. There are people who can do better than me, but I can do it better than... It's not a cookie cutter. Mm-hmm. We all want the personalized touch, and we all hate cookie cutters.
Right.
And that's where art and craft come into play. Because anybody can cook. Anybody can cook. Some can cook better. Some definitely can't cook as good. But anybody can cook, right? Anybody can turn on the heat, put a pan in the egg, put a pan on the fire, put an egg in the pan, and fry an egg. Mm-hmm. They can do it better. They can do it worse. But anybody can do it. Now, wood-fired requires more. It requires the skill. It requires the repetition that you have put in there to perfect your craft. And that's where the craftsmanship comes in. Mm-hmm. And then you can start creating. Because once you're a good craftsman, you can create something new. And I'm not saying that, right now we have pork belly cooking at 170 for 6 hours. Right now, as we speak. And that's okay. We use all of them. But if I had to choose one thing to cook, it would be 6 hogs over live fire. Because that's something that is special and is unique and gives more personalized touch. And at the end of the day, if you're trying to nurture someone, you want to give them that personalized touch.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's more than food.
It's more than food.
It's how it was made.
Exactly.
Too.
It's more than food.
So that, that got me thinking just a little bit. So as someone who has cooked hundreds, if not thousands of times with wood fire, right?
Yeah.
Fair to say?
Hundreds.
Hundreds. Yeah. Okay. But you're very good at it. I know because I've seen you. I mean, look, you're cooking 6 hogs over.
I'm okay with that.
What's the learning curve like for that? Because a lot of people are just now starting. They're just starting to cook with wood fire. And what's the progression like that? When you start early on, what mistakes were you making? What have you noticed that you've gotten that just you can't instantly learn with wood fire cooking? You have to just do it hundreds of times to get it right. Is there anything that kind of comes to mind?
I'm going to separate it into 2 things. One, for me, and on any learning curve, but especially with wood fire, and especially with good equipment, okay? Don't be afraid of making a mistake. The worst thing that can happen is you call Domino's and they deliver a pizza. And
Put
frankly,
yourself out there.
Put yourself out there.
Yeah.
But shit happens. I mean, I've fucked up dishes. It happened. I've fucked up expensive dishes. It happens. So the learning curve is very, very steep based on that, because if you don't make mistakes, you're not going to get better. If you don't make that mistake that, yes, unfortunately, I'm going to burn the steak. It's not going to, I'm sorry.
So make mistakes. Don't be scared to make mistakes.
So the learning curve is very, very, very steep, because you start off assuming that I'm going to make a mistake here. I'm going to make something that every little vein in me says this is wrong. But I want to try it. I want to learn how it's going to be. And I mean, working with a 1200 degree oven, working with a 1000 degree oven, those mistakes, be safe.
They happen fast.
They happen fast. They happen really, really fast. And that's a big thing. So be aware of the fact that you're going to make mistakes. Have the ability to say, okay, I'm going to make a mistake now. And I mean, when we developed our pizza dough recipe, you've seen our pizza dough recipe. It's
very unique.
It is very unique.
I've never seen anyone's dough like yours.
But it took 3 months, and it sucked at the beginning. It was just, okay, we tried off several recipes, and like, okay, I really like this recipe, but I'm not going to start buying extra gluten just to develop a recipe. It's not economical. And if I'm giving the recipe to somebody, they're not going to use it. So we're like, okay, how do we change this recipe up? And then, okay, this pizza came out shit. There were some horrible pizzas. Horrible. And then you start, okay, what didn't I like about this? Embracing a mistake is a huge thing. Being able to say, what was wrong here? What didn't I like? Is huge. I did not like the way the crust was holding. The bubbles were shitty. It did not hold the triangle. It was floppy. It just did not caramelize as well as I like it. It did not have the leoparding. All that stuff on a pizza dough. And then, okay, now getting what I do know and understanding what I didn't like, how do I get to, if this is what I didn't like, how do I get to what I do like? Like, okay, I need more protein in there. I need more gluten. I want more water. I want less yeast. I want all that stuff. And you're slowly getting there. But developing that dough was three months, and I think I'm going to change it again. Next time I'm making it, I'm going to add oil to it, which is something that I was really against till now. But
I thought you had oil in yours.
Nope. It was a classic Neapolitan. No oil.
Oh, you didn't have oil in the dough recipe, but you usually have oil with your sheet pans.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's something you add before you put the dough in there?
Yes.
Why do you do that?
So
I don't notice anyone else doing that.
So it doesn't stick on me. So it has So the semolina, I have enough semolina to stick to the dough, but not too much, because it creates a barrier. And then it feels nice to stretch it. It doesn't stick to your hands when you stretch it. It doesn't stick to the pan when you stretch it, because our dough is very high hydration. We use 63% hydration, which is relatively high. Mm-hmm. So, but what it was, the fact that there's no oil in the dough made it a bit floppy.
Okay.
Which is okay for a Neapolitan style pie. But I noticed that people like to hold a slice. People like a slice. So that's the thing. Like, do I want a slice? And how do I do that? And all that stuff is... So the learning curve never ends. That's the second thing. It's not like, oh, I was going very, very steep, and now I'm at a place that I'm happy. You're never happy. That's the thing that for me with food is there. You're never satisfied with where you are right now, because there's always this little tweak. What if I do this? Or what if... And we're talking minute changes, but they're important. Mm-hmm. It's like with the ovens, I noticed that you guys started polishing the floors. Mm-hmm. That's a new thing. It didn't happen. The oven that we have at KC doesn't have a polished floor. Right. And that's not... Okay, that's a different change. And it's something that came from constantly getting it better.
It's subtle. Yeah. And those are, subtle changes, because you've done it so many times that, you have to immerse yourself in whatever it is, building an oven, making food so many times that you notice those crazy little things that are just, you can't the first time. And those are things that I'm sure, translate to the food, because someone might be eating something and they don't know that you did X amount of hydration on your dough. They don't know.
They don't care.
But it's subconsciously that there's something, all of the factors that make up that pizza or whatever that thing you made just makes it amazing for them. Yeah.
Exactly. That's the thing. It's like, you need to be, I'm going to sound very zen, and I'm not very zen. But it's accepting who you are through your craft. It's understanding that you are at a place in your life that is unique to this specific time and place. And understanding that, yes, you are going to do this with that. And understanding that next time you're going to be different. You can't step in the same river twice. Right. Because you're not the same and the river is not the same. And that's the same with food. And that's why the learning curve with any kind of cookery is there. But because wood-fired requires more skill, understanding that ambers are different than live fire, and both are good. I mean, if I want to bake a cake in the oven, I don't want a fire. I want ambers. But if I want to bake a pizza pie, I need fire.
Right.
Those are two different things. Mm-hmm. So understanding all that and getting the understanding of it, that learning curve never ends, and you just get a better and better understanding of who you are in that space.
Your food is a reflection of yourself, you feel like.
Yeah. Everything is a reflection of yourself. Sure. But everything that you generate is a reflection of yourself. That's with food for sure. If you're giving something, I mean, I want my kid to be the best he can. I need to provide him with the best that I can. Mm-hmm. And part of that is being able to say, okay, you're going to have the best food that I can give you. And that's that's at the end of the day, that's what it's about. Right. It's about nurturing and taking care of our dearest.
Awesome.
Became very zen. I need another beer.
That's all right. So if someone's listening to this right now, and
how many people?
None right now. We're at 0.
We're at 0.
But people will watch it after, and we'll, hopefully some people will listen to it on the podcast. But if they are listening and they own a wood-fired oven,
okay,
what should they be cooking, and how should they be cooking?
They should be cooking everything.
Okay.
All the time. No, it's obviously the easy answer is always pizza, right? Because that's why they bought that oven for. That's what they call it. They call it a pizza oven. They don't call it a wood burning oven. Let's be honest here. 90% of the people who buy a wood burning oven, buy it for pizza.
Which is funny because about 10% of what we cook is actually pizza.
Yeah.
But everyone's different. But
everybody's different, but
it's a great place to start.
It's a great place to start.
It's a crowd pleaser for sure.
It's a great place to start.
Easy and it's fun.
And it's a great way to understand your oven. I would go next to things that like high heat.
Okay.
It is much easier to work with these ovens at high heat than it is to work with them at lower heat.
Sure. Bigger learning curve for lower temp.
Yeah.
Because when you are cooking at high heat or high temperature, it's very easy to control that temperature and maintain it.
Exactly.
Yep.
So steaks are great. Fish, we're going to be cooking fish this coming Saturday.
Yep.
I think we got... We asked for a striped bass. I think we got a sea bass.
Yeah, you're right. I had him get some ribs too. Just
some Korean short ribs. Mm-hmm. And we got things that like high heat: steaks, fish, asparagus, green vegetables. Love the oven. All green vegetables.
Throwing those in the cast iron.
Yep. Asparagus, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, anything that's green.
Green.
Loves it.
Get that char
spinach.
On it. Yeah.
Creamed spinach, dude. I've
never had spinach out of the oven.
We need to make some creamed spinach.
Okay.
Creamed spinach we'll make a bechamel. And then that's what I would start. High heat, things that go in and out fast.
Now when you say high heat, 700 to 900?
Yeah,
degrees?
700 to 900 is a good place to be. I usually run the oven a while in advance. So we've had that conversation many times, you and I. But for me, the most important part is how much energy is saturated in the brick.
Right.
Because that gives us consistency in temperature.
Yes.
So wood fire is great, but the wood oven that we use, especially the Forno Piombo, is all about how consistent is it with heat. And the fact that it's so thick and all the energy is absorbed and maintained in there is, for me, the biggest part.
I explain it to people. You can imagine the thickness of your brick dome like a gas tank.
Exactly.
If you fill it all the way up with heat, then it's going to
last
consistently
a long while.
emit heat and just real quick, some numbers, because we just kind of looked at it. When you stop putting logs in and you say the oven gets to 700 degrees, it's going to lose on average 13 degrees an hour. So that's
okay. And
then when it gets to 400 degrees, it's going to lose 6 or 7 degrees an hour.
Yeah, because it's
just to kind of explain thermal mass and soaking up the heat.
I mean, when we used at Kitchen Collective, the oven that's there, I would usually get it to 850 on the outside of the brick, and then throw a couple logs, put the door on it, and then 12 hours later, the oven would be at like 590, 600, easy. And that's understanding that is what gives you the nice leoparding on the bottom of your pie. That's what allows the steak to be seared on all sides, not just where it touches the cast iron. That's what allows you to cook those broccoli really, really quick. And that for me is the biggest part. And that's what people don't understand. Like, oh yeah, I have this oven that heats up to 1,000 in 15 minutes. Well, how fast does it cool down?
Right.
When you put something cold in there, how much does that affect that? And that's the thing, because people don't get that the mass is as important, if not more important, than
the actual temperature.
Than the actual temperature inside the oven. And that's like...
Especially if you want to cook at lower temperatures.
Yeah. And roasting. So once we start with that, then the following day, I mean, prime rib, roasting a whole prime rib.
Yeah.
Nothing better.
Yep.
Stews are wonderful. I've done a risotto in the wood oven.
Really?
Yeah.
How'd that turn out?
Really delicious.
What temp did you do?
We were cooking at I always cook at 1,000. If I'm cooking in front of the oven, then it's at 1,000. And we were just making sure that we're doing it right, making sure that it used a lot more stock than usual. Usually it uses 13-1. It used about 17-1,
Okay.
which is a lot more than usual. But it came out a bit smoky, it just was beautiful. So that's what was the question? Can't remember your question.
What people should be cooking in their oven?
Frankly, everything. I mean, just be
What's your best accessory in the oven? Cast iron?
cast irons
Get cast
all
iron.
the time.
Get
Good
cast
cast irons and a poke.
The poker, yep.
The poke.
So you can push your cast iron and
You can
hook it
move
on the
things
handle.
around
Yep.
in there.
Manage.
That's. I remember our first conversation about the poke. You were like, "What the hell do you want from me?"
You're like, go get a piece of rebar and bend it and bring it.
But yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Because you just need something to move things around the oven with. So yeah, cast iron, and then
You like that? We do sheet pans, sheet trays,
sheet trays are great.
big ones.
Yeah, sheet trays are great. I've seen some beautiful cast iron pans that are not like just the classic round pan. I think I've seen one at your parents' house. But at Kitchen Collective, we have a loaf pan, which is wonderful.
Baking your breads and
Baking
stuff.
your breads and stuff, or dinner rolls. They're great in there.
Yeah.
Put monkey bread and then just fire it off for like 7 minutes and it's done. It's delicious. Things that would last. Things that I wouldn't put in there: parchment paper, foil,
Your hand.
silicone molds, your hands, stuff that burns.
Yeah.
If it's easy to burn, then don't put it in there. But yeah, cook everything. I mean,
I just remember I have some questions that people had.
people have questions. I saw one question: why use a cast iron and not the?
I think the question was, what's the difference? If I'm cooking, so if I have a steak, right? And let's just say we're at 700, 800, something like that. What's going to be the difference if I put that steak on a cast iron versus throw it right on the floor?
Right on the floor.
Or maybe even on the coals.
So coals are great.
Okay.
The reason that the floor of the oven is so great is that it does not conduct heat. It absorbs heat.
Okay.
And cast iron conducts heat.
Okay.
So the thermal transfer between metal and flash is better than the thermal transfer between brick and flash.
So it's going to sear it.
It's going to sear it way better
Than it would on the floor. Okay.
than it would on the floor. The floor wouldn't sear it.
Okay.
It
But if you maybe wanted to sear in a cast iron and then slowly cook it after on a floor or something?
You could. And then there's also the practicality of not needing to reach with tongs into the middle of the oven and trying to grab a steak. Okay. And ideally, you want thick cuts. I mean,
so in summary, it's a higher flash point in the cast iron.
It's the same flash point.
It's the same flash point.
But it would just transfer the heat. It's physics. Metal is a better conductor of heat than brick.
Okay.
It's just
that makes sense. Sure.
So you want to conduct the heat to the metal, to the steak as fast as you can.
What about coals then? Direct.
Coals are great.
Okay.
Because coals, they let go of heat as much as you can.
Right.
So you can put it straight on the embers. If you have a thin cut steak, let's say you do a skirt steak, get a nice pile of embers, 30 seconds, flip, take it out, wrap it in foil, let it sit. It's going to be delicious.
What is the secret? This is a personal question I have because I don't know how to cook. So what
You're a great cook.
What is the secret to getting a good sear, but cooking your steak to the doneness that you want it as well? Because it's timing, right?
It's all timing.
Okay. So right? Because it's most times than not, I'm not going to perfectly do both as a novice chef
people are afraid of heat. Okay. Oh shit, this is too hot. It's very hard to be too hot. I mean, if we look at this picture right here, and you're going to post it to the website later. But you see, this is a very, very hard sear. It might actually be a bit over-seared on the outside.
Describe it for the
It's
people
too dark. So what we're looking at, the center is bright pink, and then there is about a 1/4 inch of gray with a very, very dark exterior, which I think is pretty perfect.
Okay.
It wasn't. Maybe this was sous vide. I don't think it was sous vide.
No, it was not. It was.
Did I cook this steak?
Yeah, it was an aged something, and we.
I cooked that steak.
It was 900. The oven
Okay.
was 900.
The oven was
degrees,
at 900.
and I think it was 60 seconds or 90 seconds each side.
Damn, I cooked that one. Nice.
Yep.
Well done. I thought it was Robert's. It looks like Robert's
No,
plating.
we were doing a photo shoot at Kitchen Collective with my brothers,
Okay.
and I think I just showed up with that, and you're like,
Okay.
maybe it was. I don't know. I have pictures.
It is the.
I could've
It is
sworn
the new.
was you.
It is the old grill. It's not the new grill.
That was a long time ago. Yeah, it was like 2 years ago.
So
But anyway, so about cooking it.
don't be. It's all about heat management, right? It's understanding where the oven is hottest versus where is it coolest, and where there's no heat at all, and then understanding that you want. There are two ways of cooking it. You either bring it up slow, and then sear hard, which is called reverse searing, or you have normal searing, which you sear and then you bring it the rest up.
Because that traps flavor in, right? Or no?
No.
Okay.
No. That is an old wives' tale.
Okay,
that
good to know.
Has got good.
That's complete bullshit.
It's not complete. Yeah, it is complete bullshit. What we're trying to create Maillard reaction. Okay, Maillard reaction is proteins caramelizing or changing status. All you food nerds out there, I love you, but we're going to call it caramelizing. Proteins changing formation and caramelizing, resulting in amazing umami flavor, which we all like. Brown crust on everything is Maillard reaction. So the crust on a baguette, that everybody likes, that beautiful crust, that's Maillard reaction. This brownness on the steak, that's Maillard reaction. Anything that has proteins can brown. And then once we created that, we want the interior of the steak to be as evenly juicy as possible.
Okay.
Right? And if it's evenly juicy as possible, that means that it's not blue, that we don't enjoy the juices, and it's not completely well done, that the juices are gone. It's trying to find that happy medium. And for me, I like my steaks depending on the thickness and what cut, but almost at medium for me. So it's a light pink.
Just a little bit under medium.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you want to say, okay, how do I get there? And that temperature is about 128 to 132. And you want
That's inside.
That's inside. Okay. And then you want to get as much of the steak at that temperature while the outside is still brown and crusty and delicious.
Is there a trick to doing that without completely burning the outside, or can you not really?
There is a trick. Yeah. That's skill. It's doing it over and over and over again. First trick that I say with any cut of meat, chicken, steak, pork chops, season it with salt, kosher salt, a lot of it. And I think you've seen me do that.
Season it, yeah. And then you say to always try and season it early. Because it's going to soak in.
It's going to soak in. Okay. It's going to season evenly. And it's also going to dry the outside of it. Now, the enemy of Maillard reaction is moisture. When we have moisture, Maillard reaction can't happen because it can happen, but it's very hard for it to happen.
Okay.
So, especially on a steak, it needs to be higher than 212, which is the boiling point of water. So if we season it, put it in the fridge uncovered, it's going to dry out.
How long do you do that ballpark? I mean, before you...
At least an hour.
Okay.
At least an hour. I usually go overnight.
That's going to give the chance for the salt that you seasoned it with
to get absorbed inside.
But it's also going to dry that out, so you're going to get a better sear.
A better crust, exactly.
Okay. And you say overnight's fine.
Overnight in the fridge is fine.
Give yourself an hour, though, at least.
Yeah, at least an hour. If you don't do that, if you don't have the hour, season it and then immediately go into the pan. So don't do like 20 minutes. 20 minutes is the worst. Immediately into the pan, or at least an hour.
Okay, that's good to know. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
If you do it 20 minutes, you just take the moisture out and don't bring it back in. It's horrible. It's killing the cow twice.
Okay.
So then get the cast iron. For me, get the cast iron hot. Sear on the other side, and then move it to a colder part of the oven, close to the mouth of the oven or away from the fire. If you have a left fire, which I'm usually a left back fire.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm left for sure.
Yeah. So put it toward closer to the mouth on the right side.
But what about the cast iron? Because the cast iron is the actual temperature on the cast iron going to drop a little
The
bit?
cast iron, the cast iron is going to drop a lot.
So
it's conducting all that energy that the cast iron.
It's such a good conductor.
It's a good conductor.
Heat around it.
It's not. It's transferring all that heat that it has to the steak.
Got it.
So it's going to cool down.
So if you move it to a cooler spot, that cast iron itself cools
the cast iron cools off. Exactly. And then just let it crest, and then keep flipping it so you have an even sear and an even cooking time. And
if you're not, as you're learning, you should probably get like a temperature thermometer or something.
You should get a thermometer, and assume the fact that you're gonna fuck it up, and that's okay. Make mistakes. Exactly. If you don't, we're gonna go extreme here. Okay. Let's say I'm buying prime ribeye bone-in. Okay. That runs what, $25, $26 a pound.
Okay.
And I'm getting it dry aged, so it's, let's say, $35 a pound.
Yeah.
And I'm getting 4 pounds because I want a thick steak. So I spent about $150, and I fucked it up. Shit happens. I fucked it up. I'm gonna spend another $20 on Domino's, and we're all gonna eat Domino's for dinner, or whatever other takeout you want. In-N-Out is good. But the next time, you're going to know what you did. But cut into that steak. Look at it. Understand what you did wrong. That $150 that you spent on a steak, which is a lot of money. I know. I don't have that money to spend. But at least I've learned. At least I now know
the lesson's invaluable.
Exactly. The next time is going to be better.
Also, buy cheaper shit until you learn how to cook.
No.
You should still do it.
No, because most chances are you're not going to fuck it up. Most chances are that you might slightly overcook it. Or might slightly undercook it. And that's okay. 99 out of 100, it's still going to be edible. It's still going to be delicious. It might not be perfect. It might not be, oh, damn, I spent $150 on this. And it might be that feeling that I should have not spent that much money on this steak. But that's okay. Because you've got a lesson in there. And go ahead and do it again the following day.
Right.
So you can create that muscle memory. And understand that you did not spend 2 years in culinary school or 15 years in restaurants' kitchens to get to that skill that I can say, okay, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to make the best steak that can be possibly made. I mean, even Robert uses sous vide.
He loves it.
Robert loves the sous vide and then oven. And that's great. And Robert is probably the best chef I know. And that's okay. Understand that you have your limitations and work on getting better.
Do it over and over.
Do it over and over. And then if you don't want to do a steak again, do pork chops. Pork chops are great for the oven. Or do a whole loin. Do a porchetta. You've seen that porchetta we've made in the oven?
Yep. That
was delicious. That was cooking on the way down. That was cooking with a cold oven.
That's the most fun, I think. Because it's like, hey, you did your high temp cooking, you got something out of it, and then you just have fun with it at that point. Hey, the oven's hot no matter what. Go grab this pork butt, go grab whatever, throw it in, see what happens.
Yeah, see what happens.
Yeah.
And understand that, you're not there yet.
Right.
And, I mean, have you ever driven on a racetrack?
No. On Mario Kart.
On a Mario Kart.
Yeah.
It's very, very frustrating driving on a racetrack, especially in a very, very good car. Because you want to go faster than your balls allow you. And then you want to take the corner faster. You know you should take it faster, but you can't. Mm-hmm. And then you have a racing car driver next to you, and he's like, "Yeah, just do it. I wish I could. I can't." And you have all the tools, but you don't have the ability. But if you do it for 3 days straight, your neck hurts like a motherfucker. but you're shaving seconds. Every lap you do, you shave a second. Like, wow, I'm getting better at this. And it's the same with cookery.
It's muscle memory.
It's muscle memory. It's developing the skill. It's developing the confident. You know, I'm a way more confident cook than I was 3 months ago, 2 years ago, 7 years ago. I have more confidence in what I'm doing. And the fact that I have the confidence allows me to do stuff that I would not have done before. Because, oh shit, I need to go check on this. No, you can leave it on there. It's okay. And that's the thing. And it takes time. Understanding that it takes time, that it's a craft. It's not binary. It's not like, oh yeah, you just go and do it. It's different.
Makes sense. Before I forget, there's more.
More questions.
At least
yes.
One more question. So, let's see.
What time's your knife cutting class?
5:30.
5:30.
But
I'll answer quick.
It's right down the street.
Isn't it CAA?
Yeah, that's close.
Okay.
So, okay. What's your favorite Israeli dish? I think I know the answer to this. What's your favorite Israeli dish to cook in the oven? Can I guess?
You're not going to guess.
All right. Well, I might be wrong. And I'm probably going to butcher the name.
You're going to say shakshuka.
Yeah. I wasn't going to say it like that.
It is one of my favorites. Right now, I'm experimenting with burekas.
Burekas.
Yeah, which is a pastry. It's I'm actually doing a pop-up.
Pastries are tough in the oven.
Pastries are tough.
Yeah. That's precision.
I'm doing a wood-fired pop-up Israeli cuisine June 3rd.
Where at?
Kopia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Whose oven are you using?
Their own.
Come on.
It's built in with gas and all that stuff.
Oh, it's gas. Okay. Well, you need that for pastry because that's precision temperature stuff.
Yeah. So right now, that's my favorite.
What is that? Describe it.
So it's a special dough that is stretched paper thin.
Is that like a tart flambe thing, kind of?
No. And then you roll it up with all sorts of stuffing.
Ooh, okay.
So it's like phyllo dough.
Yeah. So that's like in Greek they have like dolmas, not dolmas.
It's not dolmas.
But they call them egg rolls, but they're not egg rolls.
Yeah.
But it's a phyllo with like
phyllo wrapped.
corn, veggie, and ground.
Yeah,
beef.
you can stuff it. So I'm gonna do it with spinach. It's a lot like a spanakopita.
Oh yeah. Spinach and the phyllo.
Yeah, exactly. So
Feta.
spanakopita is great in the oven.
Yes.
Have
really?
Have
never done that. I gotta talk to Antonia.
Talk to Antonia.
She's doing a Greek class.
She's doing a Greek class.
She's doing a Greek cuisine in the
nice.
oven.
Dude, spanakopita in the oven.
Yeah.
Classic.
So yours is same concept. It's phyllo dough, but you're rolling up. What are you rolling inside of there?
Spinach and feta.
Okay.
You roll it up and then you have it in a spiral. Then you put that in the pan.
Okay. Yeah.
We might do some puff pastry stuff as well.
Okay. That's your go-to. That's your favorite right now.
Yeah, that's my favorite right now. Whole fish. I love the whole fish.
We're doing that on Saturday.
We're doing that on Saturday. That's going to be a more Korean.
You've done that more than any other chef I know in the Forno Piombo oven. You're always doing the fish.
I love the fish.
You do it on the flat skillet cast iron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just, for me, it locks in the flavor of the fish so well. Mm-hmm. And so how do you describe the perfect grilled fish or the perfect cooked fish, right? Crispy skin, moist interior, tons of flavor.
Yeah, definitely.
I've never seen better crispy skin on a fish than in the oven.
Wow.
Because it's just the immense heat does that.
Yeah.
So that for me is like, if I have to cook anything in the wood oven,
it's fish. Whenever I ask about a class, it's always like, let's do fish.
Yeah, I know. Let's do something new this time. Let's do fish.
It's good.
Oh, let's do something new this time. Let's do fish. I have a new idea. Let's do fish.
I have to go cut.
Go cut.
Knives.
I'm going to ask for a ride.
No, I'll drop you. I think I got time. We'll see.
No, I need to go to KC, so.
Okay. All right, man.
Cool.
That was fun.
Sit for sure. Let's do it again. Let's bring a whole bunch of people.
We should. We'll bring Nate. You and Nate can.
Me, Nate. No, let's bring like a whole. We need more beer.
A little audience. All right, man. That's it.
Okay.